Have you ever wondered why two cars with the exact same engine can have different oil recommendations depending on which country they're sold in? Well, it turns out there's more behind that little number on your oil cap than most drivers realize. And today, we're breaking it down. How fuel economy regulations, climate, and manufacturer priorities all play a role in what oil your car is supposed to use. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon, because next week, we're uncovering how transmission software tuning affects both fuel economy and long-term reliability. You don't want to miss that one. All right, let's get into it. Section 1. The mystery behind oil grades. So here's an interesting fact. Most vehicles built for the American market now recommend 0W-20 oil. But look at the exact same models sold in other parts of the world, like Australia, Europe, or South America. And you'll often see 5W-30 listed instead. Same engine, same design, different oil. It's a detail that's confused mechanics and car enthusiasts for years. So what's really going on here? According to several automotive engineers and technical bulletins, this difference doesn't come from the engine itself. It comes from regulations and priorities. In the United States, automakers have to meet something called the Corporate Average Fuel Economy, or CAFE standards. These rules measure the overall efficiency of every manufacturer's vehicle lineup. The thinner the oil, the less friction inside the engine, which means slightly better fuel economy numbers during government testing. The difference on paper? Maybe 0.5 miles per gallon. The effect on your oil choice? Much bigger than you think. Section 2. How thinner oil saves fuel and why it's a trade-off. Thinner oil flows faster and reduces internal drag. That's great for efficiency. But oil also has another job. It creates a thin, protective layer between metal parts inside your engine. If that layer gets too thin, especially under high heat, metal surfaces start rubbing directly, which accelerates wear. That's where the viscosity rating matters. When you see something like 0W-20, the first number, 0W, represents how the oil flows in cold weather. The lower it is, the better for cold starts. The second number, 20, represents how thick the oil stays at operating temperature. Higher numbers mean stronger protection at higher heat. That's why, in countries with hotter climates like Australia or Southern Europe, manufacturers often recommend 5W-30. It's a slightly thicker oil that holds its protective film better when engines run hot for long periods. Section 3. What engineers actually say. Several former engineers from major automakers, including ones who worked in Japan, Germany, and the US, have discussed this quietly for years. According to one engineer interviewed by Automotive Research Review 2023, engineering teams often prefer 5W-30 for long-term durability, but regional fuel economy requirements lead to thinner oil. Specifications in the US. Another independent report from a European powertrain lab compared wear patterns in identical engines, tested under hot climate conditions. The engines using 5W-30 showed, on average, 25 to 35% lower wear metals in their oil analysis compared to those using 0W-20. That doesn't mean 0W-20 is bad. It means it's optimized for efficiency testing, not necessarily for long-term protection in high heat. Section 4. Real-world data. Climate makes a difference. Let's look at real conditions. Across much of the United States, summer temperatures routinely climb above 90 degrees Celsius, and in states like Texas, Arizona, and Florida, it's common to see triple digits. At those temperatures, oil thins out faster. Even high-quality synthetic 0W-20 oil loses up to 25% of its film strength under heavy load and heat, based on findings published by Lubrication Science Journal, 2022. That loss of film strength translates directly into increased friction and higher wear. Meanwhile, 5W-30 maintains a more stable layer, especially in engines under stress, towing, long highway drives, or stop-and-go traffic in heat. For drivers in regions where summer heat lasts months, a slightly thicker oil can make a measurable difference in how smoothly and quietly the engine runs over time. Section 5. The dual standard. Across global markets. Why don't American owners' manuals mention these differences? It's not exactly a conspiracy, it's more about regulatory optimization. When a carmaker certifies a vehicle in the US, it has to meet strict emissions and economy standards using a specific configuration, including the oil type used during testing. If they later list a different oil in the owner's manual, they'd have to recertify the vehicle. That process is expensive, so they keep one standard recommendation across the country. Meanwhile, in other regions without the same efficiency targets, automakers have more flexibility to balance efficiency and durability. That's why you'll find the same engines officially rated for 5W-30 in markets like Australia, South Africa, or parts of South America. It's not that those cars are designed differently, they're just following different rule books. Section 6. Warranty and legal perspective. Now, one question comes up a lot. If I switch from 0W-20 to 5W-30, will that void my warranty? The short answer is no. As long as the oil meets the proper quality standards listed in your owner's manual. Under the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, a manufacturer can't deny a warranty claim just because you used a different oil, viscosity, unless they can prove that your choice directly caused the problem. So if you're using a reputable synthetic 5W-30 oil that meets API-SP or ILSAC GF6 standards, your warranty remains protected. Several industry experts, including former warranty administrators interviewed by Auto Service Digest 2023, confirmed they'd never seen a valid claim denied solely due to using 5W-30 instead of 0W-20, Section 7. What about fuel economy? You might be wondering, if thicker oil protects better, why not use it all the time? Well, that's where the trade-off returns. In controlled lab testing, 0W-20 can provide about 1% better fuel economy compared to 5W-30. That's around 1 to 3 gallons of fuel per year for the average driver. Not much, but it matters when automakers are fighting for every decimal point on official test cycles. For you as a driver, the real-world difference is often smaller than changes in tire pressure, driving habits, or even weather. So for most people, the protection benefits of 5W-30 far outweigh the microscopic fuel savings from 0W-20, especially in warm climates. Section 8. How climate shapes recommendations. United States is huge, and not all states share the same climate. So while 0W-20 might be perfect for drivers in northern areas like Minnesota or New York during winter, it's less ideal for drivers in hot regions like Nevada or Florida. Many European and Asian automakers acknowledge this directly in their international manuals. They often include a temperature chart showing multiple oil grades depending on average ambient temperatures, from 0W-20 in sub-zero climates to 10W-40 in tropical ones. American manuals, on the other hand, usually list a single oil, 0W-20. For simplicity and certification, consistency, that's why some independent mechanics and lubrication experts recommend tailoring your oil viscosity to your climate and usage, not just the manual. Section 9. Real drivers, real results. Let's look at what happens in practice. In one independent analysis shared by a group of automotive technicians in Houston, Texas, 2024, two identical SUVs, both driven under the same conditions, were tested with different oil viscosities. After 60,000 miles, oil samples showed about 40% lower wear metals in the engine using 5W-30, compared to the one running 0W-20. The driver also noticed quieter valve operation and smoother starts in hot weather. This aligns with findings from Blackstone Laboratories, a well-known U.S. oil analysis firm, which reports consistent reductions in iron and aluminum content when using slightly thicker oils under high heat conditions. Again, that doesn't mean everyone should change immediately. but it shows how viscosity choice can make a measurable difference depending on where and how you drive. Section 10. Practical recommendations here. As a quick guide based on data from lubrication studies and independent labs. Hot climates, regularly above 90 degrees. Consider switching to a high-quality synthetic 5W-30 that meets your car's certification. It provides stronger film protection in high heat, cold or mixed climates. 0W-20 or 0W-30 may still be the best balance for smooth cold starts, heavy towing, long highway drives, or high-load use. 5W-30 offers extra cushion against heat stress and shear breakdown. Daily short trips or mild temperatures. Stick with what your manufacturer recommends. The difference will be minimal. Whatever you choose, the key is quality. A premium synthetic oil from a reputable brand will always outperform a cheap conventional blend, no matter the viscosity. Section 11. Myths versus reality. Let's clear up a few common myths about oil viscosity. Myth number 1. Thicker oil harms modern engines. Reality. As long as it meets API ILSAC specs, modern engines handle 5W-30 perfectly well. Myth number 2. You'll lose significant fuel economy. Reality. The difference is typically less than 1%, which is almost impossible to notice. Myth number 3. The engineers designed the engine only for 0W-20. Reality. The same engines run 5W-30 globally. It's about regulatory testing, not internal tolerances. Myth number 4. Switching oils voids your warranty. Reality. Legally and practically, it doesn't, unless the oil directly caused damage. Section 12. The takeaway. So what does all this mean for you? It means that oil choice isn't black and white. The right viscosity depends on your climate, driving habits, and priorities. If you live in a region that gets extremely hot, drive often, or plan to keep your car beyond the warranty period, a slightly thicker oil like 5W-30 can provide real long-term protection benefits. If you live in colder climates or want maximum efficiency, 0W-20 still works great. Just make sure it's a high-quality synthetic that meets your vehicle's certification. The most important part, change your oil on time and use trusted brands that publish independent test data. That's what truly protects your engine. At the end of the day, this isn't about brand loyalty or conspiracies. It's about understanding the why behind your vehicle's recommendations. Every engine is a balance between efficiency, protection, and regulation. Now you know how those trade-offs shape what's printed in your owner's manual. If this video helped you understand oil grades a little better, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe, so you don't miss next week's breakdown on how modern transmission software tuning affects fuel economy and long-term durability. Drive smart, stay informed, and keep your engine running strong. See you in the next video.